Baby, when I tell you this is some messy, messy, messy church drama, rich people problems. Rich people problems. Hey guys, thanks so much for clicking on the video. This is my review for Filthy Rich. This is season 1, episode 1. This was the pilot. Child, this is actually, it is really a whole basic nighttime soap drama about a televangelist and this whole church family. Hilarious. Hilarious. It is very much in the vein of a Desperate Housewives and that kind of thing. There's like a punchy to it, and it's just drama, just complete drama, and I am so here for it. It actually stars Kim Cattrall, who I love from Sex and the City. But this show was actually derived from a show with the same title that's from New Zealand. And it's called Filthy Rich as well. But it's actually based in New Orleans. This family, child, they're a whole Southern family, honey. And like I said, they're televangelists and just a whole bunch of mess. When we first start in, you see this mansion on fire. It is on fire. And you see Kim Cattrall come out in a beaded dress, unbothered, looking like she just set the fire. And she gets out of the house and she walks out and she says, "Burn in hell." I said, well, wait a minute. Wait a minute. That's the first 3 minutes. I said, oh, okay. So then it goes back 4 months. It's 4 months before this happened. We actually see Kim. Her name is Margaret Monroe. She is the wife of Eugene Monroe. Okay. Margaret is the televangelist. She basically is like the face of the business for the most part, her and her husband. And there's actual a preacher who actually does the actual preaching. Okay. And you look up, he looks like Joel Osteen. And he actually is, Margaret has 2 children. She's a boy and a girl. Rose and her son, Leo. No. What is her son's name? Eugene. 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 His name is Eugene. And those are her children. Eugene is married. His wife, she's extra. And the preacher is actually his brother-in-law. Now, I will say this. Nobody in the family is really God-fearing and really the real deal when it comes to having God in their life, except for Eugene. He's the only one that I actually see God in, is Eugene. Everybody else around him is just full of shit. They are the full of shit church folk. Period. Period, boo. Period. He the only one. And he speaks out of turn and the whole 9 yards. You know, he be talking about what's right, and they looking at him like, boy, that ain't good for the brand. You feel, shut up, honey. So that's basically what it really gives. Okay. So early on, we see them doing this little thing, and Eugene Monroe ends up dying in a plane crash. Okay. They couldn't find his body. There was like this big event. They did their little thing, and then he was telling her, "I gotta go." I said, "Oh, he's screwing around." Sure enough, first time we seen him, Susie wasn't with her, honey. He was on a plane, had him some little whores and everything, and doing this thing. Baby, the plane goes down. They can't find his body. Margaret has her little right hand man. Okay, he's a black guy. He basically is like her assistant, and I guess he's an accountant and some other things. He's PR. He basically runs things underneath her thumb. Okay, and keep your mind. Just I got my eye on him. But anyway, they start talking to her, and they ask her, "Did you know? When after the death happened, then the media was like, did you know about any of the women that were on the plane with your husband? And she's like, what? Oh, no, my husband was faithful to me. I don't know what you're talking about. Child, then the next thing you know, you found out that there were multiple children found. We found out that there are 3 illegitimate children from 3 different women. Baby, when I tell you he had a little bit of everything. There's 2 boys and a girl. And a grandbaby. That we found out later on. Child, one of the one that has the grandbaby, he's Hispanic. When I tell you old Eugene was no, Eugene's the first. Yeah, Eugene was a Rolling Stone. Okay, he Eugene Senior, a whole mess, He be rolling. So listen, the one son is Hispanic. Then we find out the other son, he's a whole junkie. Okay, he's a junkie basically. He gets high on weed and other stuff. He's a junkie and he's a free spirit. And then the daughter is the complete opposite. She's a businesswoman, but she basically runs an online soft porn company. So she does the complete opposite of what her father does, but she is her father's daughter, flat out. Okay. She actually did have some time spent with Eugene. Okay, so there was some time that she spent. We found that out later on. The junkie brother, now catch this, y'all. The junkie brother is actually not really a brother. He is the half brother of the child that actually really belongs to Eugene. That child is actually in a coma, and he is posing as his brother. He got shit with him from the door. So when they end up going there, they are offered basically $1 million and to go away. And the 2 sons are like, okay, cool. The fake son and the real son's like, cool, no problem. You know what I mean? Because they, they're like folks that are just normal. They're like, fine, shit, that'll change our whole life. $1 million, baby. The sister, Ginger Sweet, honey, is her name. Ginger Sweet. Ginger ain't going for it, baby. Ginger's like, no, baby, you are worth billions of dollars. And if you think you're going to get rid of me for $1 million, sweetie, no, ma'am. So, baby, I said, oh, Ginger's going to be a thorn in Miss Margaret's side, okay? So, right away, we got this whole thing going. So, it starts right out. They invite them to, Ginger is invited to this luncheon. And the luncheon has like all these prominent women. And she showed up, and little girls, this prominent women in the neighborhood and in the area, and girls, young girls. She showed up dressed in a whole costume because, again, her little online thing, she said, oh yeah, I had my outfit overnighted. She dressed like a Southern belle with the whole hoop skirt and all. I mean, just the whole, I said, girl, if you ain't giving me Miss Scarlet, honey. And they was giving her, girl, what she got on, honey? Just look at, like, girl, what is going on? Now, the sister Rose is in awe, okay, of Ginger. She looked at her, she was like, look at that outfit. She said, girl, I had it overnight, honey. This, that thing, and the other. Margaret put her up on stage, set her right up, honey, and told her, girl, go ahead and speak to the people, honey. Tell them what you do in your business. And she just was standing there. And there's like all these little girls down the thing. So she just ain't say nothing. She said, oh, well, it looks like she has a little stage fright. It happens to the best of us. I said, oh, honey, these 2, it's going to be a mess. So she pulled her down, honey. Little girls and socialites, honey. And you sitting up there. What, no way she could talk about that porn business she got. So after that, Margaret offers her $2 million and to go away. Because she had actually begged the brother that's Hispanic. She said, just hold on. Just come on. Hold with me. Please roll with me. We could get more out of this. I'm telling you, they're trying to railroad us. And she's right. She's right. Now, in the same time, Eugene, the son, Eugene, the son, honey, there's a whole issue with him because his dad basically told him if anything happened to him, he would become the CEO of the business. Now, Rose is a fashion designer. And for whatever reason, Margaret don't want the spotlight on her. She won't push Rose out there. She's like, you don't give your children things just because you have it to give. And that's what Rose is like, well, why wouldn't you tell everybody that the dress that you had on was one of the dresses that I made? And they were trying to do this whole thing where they're doing this whole, they want basically their church to come to like a whole thing where all their money goes to them. They are the owner of everything. They'll have like design shops and food shops and all of this stuff. They basically are creating their own space, and they want all their members to basically shop with them, period. So like all the money, not just the church money, they want all their revenue coming to them. And she said, my shop could actually blow up right there along with everything else. She's like, no, honey, no. Just shady. Just don't want to do it. So that's the whole thing with Rose. Like I said, Eugene's supposed to become the CEO of everything. She told her basically, you told him you aren't ready, honey. You lack polish. He could sing, and that's all she's okay with him doing is singing. She don't want him saying nothing because again, he follows God's lead. He really is into the Bible and all that. Everybody else is a tyrant, and she's like, child, you ain't ready, and telling me lack polish. So he told her, you can take some maple syrup and dress it up and make it be anything you want, but it's still sweet and it's still going to kill you. So, okay. Child, so that's kind of how he gets down. Then there was this little press conference, and he ends up seeing she named herself the CEO. Baby, when I tell you, he was pissed. He was pissed. The two of them end up having this little run-in. He told her, he said to her, you lost your damn mind. And she slapped his face, honey. End up bringing all of the half children out to this other house of theirs, and they were all in there, honey. A mess. The little junkie one that sat up and had a little meeting with Rose, I seen the two of them kind of kept staring at each other and stuff. And then the next thing I know, he done leaned over there and kissed Rose. They was on the porch. He done leaned over and kissed Rose, and she liked it. And now she's like, oh, no, because now she's thinking she's into something incestuous, but they ain't really related. It's his actual brother that is actually Rose's half brother. So that's a whole mess. I told you it's a whole bunch of drama, child, just drama. And it was just kept piling up. This was all in the first episode. I said, oh, this is too much. So then Rose and Ginger have a conversation, and Rose told Ginger, she said, you are a goddess. I just think you're a goddess. And she told her, she said, girl, you're more like me than what you think. I see you, honey. You just don't know it, but I see you. So you're a girl who wants to do nothing but take care of her mother and make sure her mother's okay, but you push your stuff down to make sure that your mom is all right. Said, we got a lot in common. She said, well, tell me more about your mom, Ginger. And she was like, nah. You just keep telling me I'm a goddess, girl. I'll talk about that another time. Because here it is. Ginger's mother is a whole drunken ass fool, honey. She was in love with Eugene Sr., honey. And he never really gave a shit about her and didn't really give a shit about Ginger, which we found out later. There's this letter that's given to Ginger by old Margaret's right-hand man, who it says basically how he said that he really didn't agree with the things that she was doing as far as her business, but he always was proud of her, and he always loved her. And she like took solace in that. I said, oh, she really wanted her father's approval. And then she had contacted her mother, and in the midst of talking about it, she was like, wait a minute. She go down and she starts talking to Margaret. She says, wait a minute, my mother told me that I got my left-handedness from my father. And Margaret was like, okay. And she says, this letter was written by somebody with a right hand. And she's just looking at her, and she was like, oh, okay. And she told her, she said, how could you be so evil? She said, you know what? I'm done with this. I'm done with this whole thing. You can keep your money. I don't want nothing to do with it. She's like, and so she said, so he really didn't care about me the way that this letter says. He wasn't thinking about me. She says, well, that's okay. You'll be happy to know he spent more time with my mother than the 20 minutes that you tried to make him sing. He was with my mother for a year. He was off and on with my mother. So, I said, oh, these two, honey. So she was like pissed. And she had started packing her things to leave and all of this. She had gotten really pissed off. So they were filming the show, their regularly televised show. And the pastor, which is Eugene Jr.'s brother-in-law, him and Margaret have a little run, and his name is Eric. No. I'm sorry. I can call him Eugene Jr. The guy, his name is not Eugene Jr. His name is Eric. Her son, Margaret's son's name is Eric. He's Eric. I just gave him a whole nother name. His name is Eric. He was getting ready to tell the secret about the 3 illegitimate children and that on air. And Margaret stopped him in the middle of the broadcast. And that was the opening, so the pastor could actually threaten Margaret, because Margaret was like, he was trying to push Margaret to do the right thing and make Eric the CEO. Now the thing is, Eric is underneath his thumb, so he could kind of run Eric. Him and his sister are able to run Eric, okay? And Eric ended up grabbing his wife, and they walked off. Margaret covered it up that day. So shortly thereafter, Margaret was sitting in there, and she ended up, once the Ginger was getting ready to leave, then the little Hispanic brother, he was getting ready to go too, told her, he's nice. He's just nice. The baby had walked into Margaret's room because she was over there praying with her fake prayer, talking about, God, just send me a sign, this, that, thing, that. And the baby walked in the room. And she looked, and I said, oh, she done took a little like, and she got a little soft spot for this baby because it's her grandbaby. Child. And then the treachery raised to the top, honey. She's like, okay. He ended up telling her, thank you for everything you did. The $1 million that you agreed to give us, that's going to change me and my son's life. It is what it is, whatever. The junkie brother had told her, you give me the $1 million and I'll walk away and you ain't got to see me no more. So she had agreed to the $2 million for all 3. And that was that. And he's like, the 2 boys is like, girl, the hell with it. We gone. Ginger's like, the hell with y'all, period. I don't want nothing. But then she had these 2 little run-ins with this little guy from the press who knows that something else is going on. And the next thing you know, the Hispanic brother done told Margaret, oh, I just thought you should know. You've been so nice to me. Ginger is actually talking about going to the press. She's been telling the press stuff. So, baby, when I tell you the next thing we saw was old Margaret done jumped up, baby, and Olivia Pope the whole situation. They were like, what are you getting ready to do? And the guy from the press was telling Ginger something that went wrong. Because they was getting ready to blast. She was getting ready to blast Margaret. She wasn't ready to leave. There was a press conference, and she was like, wait, what's going on there? Like, don't go in there. She's like, get ready to blast it, honey. She walks in there, Margaret's giving a press conference, and she did the Olivia Pope. Baby, you can't blast me with my tea, because I'm going to blast myself. She got up there, baby, and pulled the whole family together and told the tea that there was 3 illegitimate children and said, we're welcoming them all into the family. Please come on up. I said, no, she didn't. Blow it up. She got in front of the story herself. Child, Ginger walks up to the stage, and then they look out in the audience. There's this woman and this other girl, and Ginger's like, uh-huh. And Margaret's like, who the hell is that? And Ginger said, sweetie, that is my mother. And walked down off the stage and went back to her stool with her mother and her sister, baby. And you got them on one side of the room and the other folks on the other side of the room. I said, Lord have mercy. And this is where the first episode was ending. And just when you thought it was messy enough, they showed this swamp, honey. and you see bodies all in the swamp. And right in the middle, you see Eugene. Eugene. See, Eugene ain't dead, child. He done, everybody else dead. He ain't dead. Some woman done grabbed him and got him out of the swamp like Misery style. She done pulled him out, got him all cleaned up. He laying in the bed. He all knocked out. When he comes to, he says to her, "Is this hell?" And she said, "No, baby, this is Louisiana." He done the plane done fell, and he done ended up back where he was supposed to be, right in Louisiana. I said, Lord have mercy. So this is a whole mess. They got all this mess going on about this man and all his money and all this stuff, and the damn man ain't even dead. I said, Lord have mercy. And this is where the pilot episode ended. I was like, yeah, I will be watching this. I'll be watching this. It's a mess. It is a mess. And it's the type of mess I like. It's filthy rich mess. So y'all keep on watching. China gave y'all a whole review and then called Eric Eugene Sr. the whole time. So I'm telling you, there was so much going on. Look, I was writing notes like crazy. And that's how I got it all twisted up. But I kept him in character. You know who he is. That's Eric. His name's not Eugene Sr., Eugene Jr. He's Eric. Anyway, just follow that. We good. We good to go. It's a daggone mess, and we gonna follow it. Kim Cattrall is doing this, and this is right up her. Yeah, this is right up her alley. Because she was messy as hell on Sex and the City. She just is messy on her. So she'll jump out of that Christian act and get the cussing in a minute. I love it. Just messy church ass. I said, a mess. Anyway, I'll catch y'all on the next episode later.